All right, let's say you're playing poker, right? And you want to, I guess I should show you these cards are just regular, all different. Can you see that okay?
I'm examining the hell out of each card right now.
Here, one by one. But anyway, let's say you wanted a four of a kind, right? What four of a kind do you want? Let's say if we're playing this poker game.
Go big or go home. Show me some aces.
All right, so here's what we'll start with. We'll start seeing the four aces, and I'll put them each in a different spot in the deck. You can see that, yeah?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
All right, cool. So I'll just push those guys into the middle, and here's what we'll do. Let's imagine we're playing a poker game now. So I got room for, let's say, 4 or 5 seats. How many people are playing?
3.
3? Okay, so I'll be 1, and then there'll be 2 and 3. Okay, where are you sitting?
Your left. Not my left. Yeah, there. Okay, I'll be sitting over there.
So you want to be in the first position.
First position.
All right, watch this, bro. I'm going to pick up the deck. I'm not going to do any fancy shuffles. We saw those aces go in. That's it, all right? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there's our 2-card hand. I'll keep those on screen. I'm just going to move them so we have enough room for the cards in the middle. Okay, so then we burn.
I'm watching good.
And we turn. All right, we turn and we turn. Oh, would you look at that? There we got 1 ace. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, and then we burn, turn, burn.
All right.
And you rivered the other ace, but none of this matters, right? I have the queen 3, so nothing special. Over here we got 5, 7.
5 and 7.
And this only matters if you got the other 2 aces.
I know you're cheating somehow, bro. You either work at one of those like resorts or something. There was no way the cards were on deck like that.
Yeah,
I know you put them separately though.
Yeah, I did.
I gotta make sure.
Yeah, put those glasses on. We'll keep going. But here's the thing, bro. So, no, very honestly, everything you're seeing is real, and I could do this in a real card game. If you play a lot of poker, one thing you'll know that we didn't do was cut the cards before I dealt.
Yeah.
Because cutting the cards is one of the hardest things to get around if you're trying to cheat. Because let's say you're shuffling and you have the ability to stack the cards, right? And you get all 4 aces to the top. Well, if someone cuts them, then that's it. There goes all your hard work. It's really the hardest thing to overcome. And so what you got to learn to do is negate the cut. So basically make that cut like it never happened, right? So you see those 4 aces on top. So now watch this. Watch very carefully, bro. I come in and I cut, and you'll see the 4 aces all the way for the last minute that they're pushed in the deck. But because I know how to negate the cut, the 4 aces actually stay on top.
Yo, you definitely just messed my eyesight up right now. I probably need new prescriptions. Didn't you just cut it up though?
I did, bro, and that's what I mean about negating the cut. Let me take it a little bit of a step further, all right? Now, the other thing with that's a little not exactly how it would go in a real card game is that I wouldn't cut the deck if I was dealer, right? I would pass it to my right, and they would cut the deck. So I wish you were here because I would actually let you cut the deck, but unfortunately you'll just have to trust me. So here's how I'll prove it to you. I'll drop the aces on top, and as openly as I can, I will cut them and square the cards. And just in case you don't believe me, they're not on top right now. I'll actually prove to you the 4 aces right here in the middle of the deck, and I close it and I square just like that. Fair? All right, we'll put the cards down like this and watch. Like I said, this is the most difficult part. Someone else cut the deck, they hand it to me to deal, but hopefully I can negate that cut.
Yo, that's some sleight of hand right there.
That's exactly what it is, bro. It's all sleight of hand.
That's like that's like 100% sleight of hand, because I know for sure you just cut it, and I'm like looking at your left hand, trying to make sure you're not moving it, like trying to distract me.
No,
and like yeah. I did not see you at all put those cards there.
The last thing I'll show you quickly is, you know, this stuff's all great when I'm handling the cards. I'm gonna try this. This is very difficult and it might not work, but I'll take those 4 aces, and just like the beginning, I'll place each one at a roughly, you know, a random different spot in the deck. Push those into the middle. Right. Here's what I'll try. I'm going to try to stack this deck just in the action of a single overhand shuffle, okay? So what I mean by that is I want to be able to stack those aces from somewhere in the deck into specific positions so I can hand out the deck to someone else to deal. And I want to do all of that by just making it look like I'm doing a regular overhand shuffle, just like this, all right? So I just give the cards a shuffle and keep going here. See, it's quite difficult, but we'll see how this goes. It gets quite messy, and then of course we cut the cards. So now I hand it out to whoever. Let's say you're the dealer and you know how to do what I just did. Let's see if this works.
All right.
So I'll flip we'll play a 4-card hand. I'll flip and I'll very fairly take the top card each time. So let's see if this worked. I'm not too sure because it's very difficult. But I mean, again, that should have looked like a regular overhand shuffle. But again, if you have these skills, you should be able to perfectly stack the aces into your hand. And anyone could have dealt that. That's the crazy thing. So you can kind of do this sort of sleight of hand thing without even having to have the deck in your hand, which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yo, you have to be on some type of like next level sleight of hand, some freaking, I don't know, bro. You probably have a PhD to be doing this.
That's funny, bro. What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to an awesome video. Today I'm going to be continuing with the tutorials from the Sleight Off, and I'm going to teach you my routine I call a gambler. Now, 2 things I got to mention. The first thing is this is from the Sleight Off Season 1 Episode 3, and I am skipping Episode 2 because I just didn't really like that trick that much, and I really don't think it's worth your time or worth my time teaching it. It was sort of a pseudo practicing demonstration, wasn't much of a trick, it was just kind of sleights. And we're going to go with the Sleight Off Episode 3. Now, the other interesting thing is this is actually a routine that I used to perform a lot because it just so happened that the sleights he gave me were all gambling sleights and ones that I could easily incorporate into this routine I called a gambler. So basically I took those sleights, adapted them, and I performed the gambler, something that I was very comfortable with, and it's one of my go-to poker demonstrations, gambling demonstrations with that and Reswindled. Check it out if you have not checked out my Reswindled tutorial. And so the gambler is a difficult sleight of hand gambling demonstration. It's pretty pure, a lot of, difficult gambling sleights, but if you put in the time, you can pull it off, and it is a really nice routine with building sort of phases and a nice story. So I'm going to teach you basically the original handling of the gambler, and I'll comment on some of the changes I made for the Sleight Off, but I do think overall it's better as just the original, the gambler routine. So if you love gambling demonstrations, you love a little bit more difficult sleight of hand, you will love this tutorial, so stick around. Make sure you subscribe and like this video if you want more gambling demos. Let me know in the comments below as well, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you a little bit of a gambling demo. Now of course, any good gambling demo, we're going to need a 4 of a kind, whether that be queen or a 5 or a jack or a king. It really doesn't matter, we just need a 4 of a kind. So let's just pick any pack, any card, and we'll use this card to tell us which 4 of a kind we'll use. An ace, how perfect for a gambling demo. So we'll use the 4 aces. Now the fundamentals of any good gambling demo is a demonstration of controlling your deal and shuffle. Now this is one of the basics if you're trying to cheat at cards. You have to be able to control the cards while they're in your hand. So we'll place those 4 aces each in a different spot, and we'll lose them into the middle of the deck. Now I'm going to start shuffling the cards, but it's very important that you notice that with each shuffle, I am being very calculated. Each shuffle is very meticulous, and I'm trying to track and then order those cards in the specific order that I want them. Each movement is planned and well thought out, all while attempting to mimic the real thing, attempting to mimic like nothing is going on. So we'll deal 4 hands of poker, okay? And the last one. Now let's see what everyone got. Nothing much here, nothing here, and nothing here. But of course, I have all 4 aces. Now if you play a lot of poker, you'll know we missed one very important element, the cut. Before every deal, there's always a cut. Now the cut is one of the hardest things for us to counteract. Even if we've stacked those cards, we have everything in the order we want. If the cards are cut, it ruins our order totally. So let me cut the cards, and you can see those aces going into the middle. What we need to be able to do now is to negate that cut. Watch. And all 4 aces are right back on top. Now I know what you're thinking. You've played poker before. I'm not the one as the dealer who would cut the deck. You'd pass it to your right and they would cut the deck. Something like this. Now your eyes can deceive you. So I'll show you that those aces are somewhere in the middle. You can see the 4 aces there, and we'll close them up. But again, just like last time, we need to be able to negate that cut. And you can see the 4 aces are right back on top. So these are some of the techniques that we can use. Now I'm going to try something very, very difficult. We'll take those 4 aces and I'll put them all in a different spot in the deck once again. Now you might be asking yourself, what happens when you're not dealing? Now you can attempt a very difficult strategy, and I'm going to show you this piece of deception. It's essentially stacking those cards in the action of a shuffle. Now right now this is just to mix the cards further into the deck. This isn't part of the stacking. But I'm going to attempt in a minute, in a single overhand shuffle, to totally stack those aces in the exact position I want them, so that I can hand out the deck. Essentially, I can control the deception while the cards are out of my hand. So in the single action of an overhand shuffle, one overhand shuffle, I'm going to attempt to stack these cards in the exact order that I want. We can't forget about the cut. And that's it. If I've successfully done this, we should be able to fairly hand out the deck and have someone else deal. And as you can see, there's another ace. There's 3. And if I've done this correctly, this card should be the 4th ace. Alright guys, so that is a gambler. That's the routine, the typical way that I perform it all the time. It's a really fun effect. It's difficult, but it's great. It builds up moments, and you're talking about the shuffling and the dealing and the cuts, and it's just a really fun, engaging presentation. People always love card cheating demonstrations. Now, for the Sleight Off, I was given the Broken Bridge False Shuffle, which obviously is pretty easy to add into this. I was given a Tabled Multiple Shift, which was also easy, and then he gave me a Card Switch, which was a bit more difficult to work out. Now, the production I used, the 4 of a Kind production, is a Danny Doherty's idea. You can find off of his 3 Weapons downloads. I got them from Vanishing Ink. Now, I'm not going to really reveal that. I don't feel like it's quite my place to, but I think you can kind of watch the video and figure out essentially how it works. It's a really neat little idea. But for that, essentially, I had the packets, set up per se, and I needed a way to, fairly select one of the 4 of a kind so that the setup would work. So what I did was use the switch here. So I very fairly just picked up any packet, pulled out any card, and I made it very clear that this was any card, and then I used the switch. So the switch he gave me was a sort of drop switch looking thing where I kind of go like this, and in that action I switched out the card for the jack. So what you're doing there is the jack is on top, you take the card, and you kind of bring your hands together. This thumb is going to clip it as the card falls out. It's sort of like the visual retention switch by Ed Marlowe, which I think might even be better for this. So in that, you would take this random card out and you say, all right, we'll leave that right here. And you just set it down, and once again, you've done the switch. So that's essentially what I used, and then I did the little production and revealed all 4 jacks. So that's how I started the effect, but again, in the regular gambler, I just like to have someone name a 4 of a kind. So let's use the jacks again, and the first thing you're going to need to do is a multiple shift. So again, in the Sleight Off, I think I used the Nash multiple shift, and I did a neat little handling where you take those 4 cards into the middle and you're going to push them through so they're back jogged, but you can't see that, and then you transfer it into this hand as you come down to the table, and it conceals all those. And now you can go into the Nash multiple shift just like this, give the cards a shuffle, and you have those 4 cards under your control. If you'd like to learn the Nash multiple shift, drop a comment and maybe I can teach it. But for now, I just recently taught a multiple shift that you can use perfectly with this effect. The one that I typically use would be a DPS sort of squeeze shift of all those 4 cards to the bottom, just like that. But, that's very difficult, and I haven't really taught that yet. So what I would do is, for you guys, if you can't do any of those, you just jog the cards to the back and use one of the multiple shifts that I taught in one of the last videos that I will link above. You're going to just kick back part of the bottom of the deck as you strip out and place on top, and then you've controlled those 4 cards to the top. Now at this point, I might go into 1 in the hands false shuffle like that, and then go into it. But at this point in the Sleight off, I had to do the broken bridge fall shuffle, so you can go check out Madison's video for that. I am not very good at it, so it took a while to get that down in the Sleight off, but I did use the broken bridge fall shuffle, so at this point that's what you can do, throw in a few false shuffles after you've done your shift. Bottom line, you need to have those cards controlled, and if you have them controlled to the top, at this point you're gonna shuffle off those 4 cards to the bottom, right? So you have those 4 on top. If your multiple shift goes to the top, mine controls them straight to the bottom, the one that I use with the squeeze shift or the straddle pass sort of shift. So for me, I'm just taking those 4 cards and I'm just straddle passing them to the bottom of the deck. But if you're doing a shift where they end up on top, you just need to control them to the bottom. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna overhand shuffle 1, 2, 3, 4, shuffle off the rest, and they end up at the bottom. Now I like to ask the spectator how many seats are at the poker table. So typically they'll say 3, 4, 5. Then I ask them where they're sitting and I deal them the jack. So you can either do this as, you deal everyone 4 cards and do sort of a pseudo poker. You can do it actually like Texas Hold'em, everyone gets 2, and then you deal the flop, the turn, and the river. So up to you. I kind of like the flop, the turn, and the river if I'm playing with someone who does know poker. Otherwise I'll just typically do packets of 4. So let's say they say there's 4 player game. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. They're position 2. So I deal 1, then I hit a bottom deal, 2, 3, 4, 1, bottom deal, 2, or 3, 4, bottom deal, bottom deal. So let's say I'm doing it in this way. I'll set the deck down. I'll say, reveal the other ones, show that no one else has anything really good, yet I still was able to control the cards, give them the 4 jacks. Then you'll get this nice reaction. At this point, I like to, say, that showed you the power of dealing. But if you play cards, and if they do, I'll typically ask them to think if they can see what I may have missed. And sometimes they get it and they say the cut, and you have that nice moment. But if not, I say, the cut. And the cut is very difficult to overcome because, you might have spent all this time controlling those cards to the top. But what happens is they give the cards a cut and it ruins your stack completely. So what I did there to control those cards to the top still is a Madison shift. So go check out Madison's video for that. But essentially, you have those cards on top, you fairly show them going on top, and then you're gonna riffle off about a quarter of the deck at the bottom. And as you come to take the deck in this hand, you're gonna move that into a pinky clip like this, and you come away with it. So now I have this in clip, and then I bring it back over top, and I pretend to lift it, but I'm really just adding it back on top and lifting that same packet. So as I come over, boom, and the thumb is gonna come from here to the back. Looks like it's cutting. Push a few cards forward, drop that on top, and the cards have still been controlled. Now just a quick point, guys, I'm not really teaching the moves in these kind of videos. I'm just really quickly covering them. For all these moves, there are sources where you can pretty much learn them. But if you would like me to teach any of those moves in more detail, let me know and I can make a tutorial on maybe the Madison shift Madison has a tutorial video you can check out, but I can give you some of my tips and tricks on that. Now after you've done your Madison shift and you reveal the 4 jacks, I often like to have them flip over the cards so they reveal the jacks. But then I say, in a typical game, I wouldn't be the one who is, cutting the cards. You would put those on top and you'd hand them to someone else to cut it. So now you invite them to cut it. And you do. And now you're gonna take the deck, flip it over and say, look, that last time you might have thought your eyes are playing tricks on you, so I really want you to see those jacks are in the middle. And at this point you spread and you're gonna get a break below the bottommost jack as you square up. So I have a break and the jacks are up here. So now I have this break. And then I'm gonna simply, as I turn the deck over to set it down, I'm gonna do a turnover pass. So I pull this forward, check out my turnover pass tutorial. And I'm gonna pass this around as I turn everything over, square it up. Now I've just passed those jacks to the top. I do not touch the deck at this point. I say, look, if you're really, really good, no matter what, you can still negate the cut, even if someone else cuts. Have them flip over the cards, you get the 4 jacks. So what we've done there is we've shown them the power of dealing, but then we've suggested, hey, the cut was missing. It's obviously a key part of cards and it's very important, but it's also very difficult to overcome. But then, I show them how I can negate the cut, but then I point out that, normally the person to your right would cut the cards. So then I let them do it and we have once again negated the cut. So this time you're going to control them to the bottom once again with a shift of your choosing. So let's say I go with the shift that I taught in the last video. And now I say, you might be thinking like, what if someone else deals? There's no way you can still have control of the cards, and obviously other people are going to be dealing in a game of cards. And you say, that's not entirely true. I'm going to show you that's the case. I'm going to let you do this. I'm going to let you deal the cards, and you're going to deal yourself an incredible hand. Now, obviously, you don't know any sleight of hand, and you're not going to have to learn it. I am going to still, in the action of a simple shuffle, stack the deck incredibly and allow you to deal yourself an amazing hand. So even when they're outside of my control, you can see that I have control over the cards. So at this point, I pick up the cards, I begin an overhand shuffle, and then I'm just going to do the shuffle stacking sequence, the overhand shuffle stacking sequence that I have taught in a video. Go check that out. So what you're doing there is you're milking top and bottom, and again, I'm going to do this for a 4-player hand. So you're milking top and bottom, so you're stealing one of those jacks. So that's 1, 2, and then you go 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Set a card in for an in-jog, shuffle off. Then you can't forget the cut, of course. We've just done all these demonstrations with a cut, so of course we better have a cut here. So you just pick up at that in-jog, set down, and now the deck is stacked to deal a 4-player hand with giving the dealer those jacks. So you hand the deck to them, you let them deal 1, 2, 3. I guess I'll do myself the dealer. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4 jacks end up in the dealer's hand. So that's the ending to the routine. Now I think this routine's really nice, has a nice build. Logically, it makes sense. It's great for people who play cards, especially poker, because it all makes a lot of sense and it builds. It's really, really nice, beautiful little routine, and it ends with this beautiful climax of them dealing the cards and sort of the magic or the incredible sleights are occurring in their hand. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think. That is my routine I call the Gambler. Alright guys, so I hope you love that routine. That is a routine I call the Gambler, something I've had for a long time that I've done a lot. I think I've performed it in one of my Omegle Magic videos, maybe virtually, to someone on Omegle. So you can check out the full performance on an actual spectator there, but a lot of fun. And I really love this routine, and I kind of was able to adapt it for that episode of the Sleight Off. So you can go and see some of the changes I made to adapt it to the Sleight Off. I do think it's still best in its original form without the tweaks I needed to make for the Sleight Off. But regardless, it's a lot of fun. But you can take this routine, tweak it how you like. But I think the sequencing is really nice and the story behind it. So with all that said, guys, thanks so much for watching. Welcome all the new subs. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's been a great start to 2022, and I hope it's been great for you guys as well. So with all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.